Let the past die. Kill it, if you have to.
Translation: I don't care about any other movies or shows that were made before this one. I am Ryan Johnson, and this is my galaxy now. Absolutely no question about it. The Last Jedi is the greatest Star Wars movie ever made. All you people going on about some movie from the 1980s don't know what you're talking about. I've been a Star Wars fan since 2015 when Disney saved the franchise, and I know what's good for the Star Wars universe. So let me tell you, let me show you why The Last Jedi reigns supreme. I swear I'm doing this of my own free will. You thought the Resistance would gain an advantage after destroying Starkiller Base? You fool. You never saw this twist coming. They're actually on the run and attempting to evacuate their last remaining base. It's an incredibly unique plot point from the brilliant minds at Disney. Bet your original trilogy didn't have anything like this.
Forget the munitions, there's no time! Just get everyone on the transport!
You know what I love? Random characters I've never seen before arguing about munitions and providing me with information about what's going on, so I don't have to think about what I'm watching at all. I didn't show up to this movie with my brain in my skull.
I have my orders from Supreme Leader Snoke himself.
Thanks for telling me who you answer to, Hux. I couldn't possibly have remembered who was in charge of the First Order otherwise. You know how, like, when you're a soldier in war, you need the general to tell you, this is our enemy, attack the enemy? Yeah, that's what Hux needs from Snoke. I really just appreciate that touch of realism. You know what the First Order is known for? It's patience and it's non-aggression. So when Poe shows up, they don't send out TIE fighters or open fire right away. They want to hear Poe's story because, naturally, they want to hear the Resistance's side of this little dispute they're having before they go and do anything rash.
Tell your precious princess there will be no terms.
General Hux has clearly reached the position that he's at by showing patience, compassion, and restraint. So, of course, he calmly and composedly deals with Commander Dameron's lack of technical know-how.
Hi, I'm holding for General Hux.
This is Hux.
A little bit of 90s cell phone humor is just what the Star Wars universe needed, don't you think? See, they even let Poe go on a little vandalism spree before they send out the space fuzz after him. I mean, there's only so much petty crime you can endure. I think they've shown remarkable restraint. Why would you send out those TIE fighters as soon as you arrive? Do you know how much fuel costs these days?
All right, taking out the cannons now. He's not trying to penetrate our armor. He's clearing out our surface cannons.
Thank goodness both Poe and the captain of the Dreadnought told me what was happening there. I had absolutely no clue what was going on when just watching the movie. First you show, then you tell, then you show, then you tell again. That's excellent storytelling. Thank you, Disney, for trusting me, the audience, to leave my brain at home when I came to watch your movie.
Disengage now, Commander. That is an order.
I really appreciate that Leia, after issuing a direct order to Poe and him just blatantly rejecting it, doesn't bother to contact the rest of these ships and tell them to turn around. We have to show that Poe's toxic masculinity, his need to blow things up, has been the downfall of the Resistance. Leia knows she could contact the other fighters and bombers and tell them to turn around, seeing as she's the leader of this entire organization, but she doesn't because she needs to teach Poe a lesson about the dangers of testosterone.
Bombs are armed.
Oh, I love this part. There's so much depth to this storytelling here. See, if the Resistance hired exclusively based on merit, they would have hired an actual aerospace engineer who would have designed a system for the bombs that arms them right before impact, based on the strength of the bomber's artificial gravity and the distance between the bomber and its target. But instead, they hired someone who flunked out of Jawa journalism school and was living on the Dune Sea, giving him an opportunity he never would have had otherwise due to her spice addiction. The fact that the bombs are armed while still inside the ships, ready to explode and cause a chain reaction that almost ruins the entire mission, well, that's just indicative of how truly inclusive the Resistance's hiring practices are, and they are to be praised for their open-mindedness.
Fighters incoming.
It's so nice of the other First Order commanders to let Captain Kennedy have his day in the sun. I mean, they have all these Star Destroyers with their legions of TIE fighters, and they hold back from attacking the helpless Rebel cruisers, so that Kennedy can make it go boom with his big guns. He must have spent years designing and building this dreadnought, and it would have just been rude of the other captains to not let him have his shot first. It really tells you a lot about the restraint and patience that is doubtless drilled into the First Order officers at training schools. It's a shame that this poor girl is forced into this situation because the Resistance is using manual triggers for releasing the bombs. It's just a shame they haven't discovered, I don't know, call them targeting computers or something like that. Maybe they'll get there eventually. Like I said, it's really too bad because she's clearly a Force user. I mean, there's no way she catches this garage door opener as it falls past her while she's lying on her back and then manages to roll over and grab it before it's out of reach without pulling a Cal Kestis on that thing. Again, this just goes to show the real depth to the storytelling here. We see so much of her character, how she was a Force user who had spent her whole life hiding, but she gets to use her long neglected abilities in one final act that will win a dramatic and meaningful victory for the Resistance. Her praises will surely be sung throughout the galaxy after this, right? This is it. This is the peak of cinema. The pinnacle of storytelling, the acme of narrative design. You all thought Luke was going to be like, oh my gosh, where did you get my lightsaber? That was my father's before me. Who are you? What's happening? You nerds. Luke doesn't need that dumb laser sword. Granted, I don't really know who Luke is or what his deal has been. I only started watching Star Wars after Disney bought it, but I know that a bunch of male nerds out there are going to be really shocked and mad when he tosses away the lightsaber. So that just makes this moment superb. Anything that pisses off the main fan base is a good thing, especially if the fan base is a bunch of nerds. I would have given this movie an 11 out of 10 if that dumb bird had activated the lightsaber and skewered the other one.
Falcon. Wait. Where's Han?
Oh, that's what he was thinking when he was giving them that look. I'm so glad he asked about Han because, honestly, I forgot who Han was. He was barely in The Force Awakens. If Luke had just stared at them, I would have had no idea what he was thinking. Was he, related to Han or something? I don't know. I'm just glad the writers threw in this extra line of dialogue so I could stay with the story without having to think about it at all. What I truly love about cinema are scenes like this one, where characters say exactly what they're thinking and how they're feeling. Like, it's the first time they've ever said any of these things. What are Snoke's expectations of Kylo Ren?
A new Vader.
How is Snoke feeling now?
I fear I was mistaken.
What does Kylo think about Snoke's doubt of him?
I've given everything I have to you. To the dark side.
What is Snoke's opinion on Kylo's mask?
Take that ridiculous thing off.
All my questions answered, just like that, in a few lines of dialogue. Please, writers, don't have the characters talk to each other like they know things, they have a relationship that the audience isn't privy to. I want to be clued in on every little detail of a character's thoughts, feelings, and motivations within 30 seconds of meeting them.
The First Order will control all the major systems within weeks. We need your help. We need the Jedi Order back.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Just give it to me plain, straight up. No fuss, no muss, no nuance, no subtlety. I don't have time to think about this movie. I just want to quickly ingest it and then let it pass through me like the butter on the movie theater popcorn.
Think what? I'm gonna walk out with a laser sword and face down the whole First Order?
He called it a laser sword. See, that's what cool people like me call it when they're making fun of nerds. I like this Luke. He's angry, dispirited, and hopeless. That's the kind of person I look up to. I don't want to be inspired by tales of men rising past their station and pushing themselves beyond their limits to conquer impossible odds. Though I would like some women to do that. I want to see former heroes dragged through the muck and mire so I can relish how far they've fallen. It makes me feel better about my own life. What's with all these shots of landscapes while music plays? Why isn't anyone talking to me and telling me what I'm watching? I'm so confused. Oh, I get it now. Yeah, I was wondering how Luke gets nourishment on this island. And I'm really glad they showed me. And they didn't even have to tell me. Like, Luke didn't say anything about it. He wasn't like, I'm going to go milk this sea cow. What is this feeling? No, stop it. I turned you off 25 minutes ago when we sat down. Shut up. I'll reactivate you when I need to figure out how to talk to a woman. It'll work this time.
There are things that you cannot solve by jumping in an X-Wing and blowing something up.
See, I told you. Poe needed to learn his lesson about toxic masculinity, and now he gets what was coming to him. Too bad Leia couldn't have possibly taught him this lesson without sacrificing the lives of all those pilots and gunners aboard the ships under her command. And so kind of her to just let him off with a pay cut instead of putting him in the brig for disobeying direct orders. Truly remarkable, strong leadership from Leia. I mean, you have to forgive insubordination that gets people killed, or Well, I mean, what kind of military would you have? One where everyone respects the chain of command? Get out of here.
We need to find a new base.
One with enough power to get a distress signal to our allies.
Cool. I'm on board. We clearly have open lines of communication within this resistance, and everyone gets to know the plan so that everyone can act accordingly. Yeah, that makes sense.
Proximity alert!
They found us.
Who found you? I'm sorry, you're going to have to be more clear. I'm really not sure who they are unless you spell it out for me.
We do have enough fuel resources for just one jump.
They've tracked us through lightspeed.
So if we jump through lightspeed, they'll just find us again and we'll be out of fuel. They've got us.
All right, I'm following. Thanks for keeping me up to date, Finn. I was honestly lost until you interpreted what everyone else had been saying. See, if someone says 2, and then someone else says +2, I really need another character to say equals 4. I can't do that kind of math in my head. It's so cool how these laser shots from the First Order are arcing like old artillery shots would. I think that's just a really cool touch for a sci-fi movie set in space. Ooh, spinning. That's a good trick. Man, it's so nice of the Resistance to just leave these bay doors open and let Kylo fly in and blow up their hangar before any of their ships can leave. They clearly knew he was having a bad day, Snoke expressing his disappointment to him in no uncertain and very detailed terms and all that, so they decide to give him an easy win by letting him fly into the belly of their ship and boost his KD ratio. Oh, thank goodness the droid survived. I was really worried. I gotta go buy one.
We need to get out of range of those Star Destroyers. We need to what?
Full engines ahead.
You stupid fish head. Let Leia tell you what to do. She's the only one around here who can do anything right anyway. Again, incredible discipline on the part of the First Order. They have all these Star Destroyers and their fighters, but they are cognizant of galactic warming and don't want to waste any unnecessary fuel, missiles, or blaster juice. So they hold back and only send these 3 fighters. They could have destroyed the whole Resistance fleet in seconds with all their might, but they restrain themselves for the sake of the planets. What's going on? I don't understand what's happening. Oh, wait, does Kylo feel bad that he's about to kill his mom and so he stops? You almost snuck that little detail past me, but I caught you and all I had to do was think about it a tiny bit. Maybe using your brain during movies isn't so bad. Ooh, an explosion!
Not cover you at this distance. Return to the fleet.
See, the First Order is super considerate, so they'll play it safe and conservative. Anyhow, nice of Hux to think of Kylo's well-being at a time like this.
What is the point of all this if we can't blow up 3 tiny cruisers?
Right, you're trying so hard to impress Daddy Snoke, Hux, but all he gave you was like 5 Star Destroyers and hundreds of TIE fighters. There's just no way you can be expected to defeat the Resistance with all that. What, you think he should send out all the TIE fighters to attack the Rebels since it had just worked and their leadership is all floating in space and their hangar is destroyed? Don't be ridiculous. We saw 2 TIE fighters get blown up. Those pilots had families, man. We can't just send our troops into combat. They might die. Better just wait. It's not like it'll give the Resistance time to think of a plan. This has to be the most incredible, most beautiful thing I've ever seen on film. What? You think Leia's force power protecting her from the explosion in the vacuum of space is absurd nonsense? I don't care about those things, you nerd. I'm talking about her hair. It's absolutely perfect, despite the fact that she got blown out of a window. That is how you know she's a powerful woman. Well done, Disney. Well done. These things are so cute. They don't want to be eaten. That's adorable. I gotta go buy 50 of them.
Years ago, you served my father in the Clone Wars. Now he begs you to help him in his struggle against the Empire.
Man, this is so cool. First, Luke wouldn't teach right, even though Rey said Leia needed him. But now that R2 shows him that Leia needed help once upon a time, Luke changes his mind. See, it's totally different when R2 appeals to Luke because young Leia is more attractive than Rey. Yeah, that's definitely the message the movie is sending here.
I will teach you the ways of the Jedi and why they need to end.
Oh, he didn't really change his mind. He just decided that because R2 nostalgia baited him, he'd actually explain himself. He didn't want to earlier, but now he does because... Oh, okay, yeah, I'll stop trying to use you. Ooh, explosions!
Leia is unconscious, but recovering.
Okay, so Leia's alive but incapacitated, and they need someone to take her place. Let me take a quick look around this room of very normal-looking people dressed in military uniforms and flight suits, and I'll try to guess who it will be. I think it's the main character from an anime.
Thank you, Commander.
What? The purple-haired woman wearing a swoopy collar dress that doesn't look remotely militaristic, to the point that she doesn't really fit in this scene at all? You mean to tell me that she's the ranking officer? Disney, you have blown me away with your ability to subvert my expectations. And by my expectations, I mean, of course, all the nerds who watch the other movies. They're thinking that, oh, militaries have ranks, uniforms, and structures for a reason, but Disney blows all that out the window. This is gonna make so many nerds mad, and I love it when nerds are mad. Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson, thank you for showing us that the person best fit for a job is the person who looks the worst for it.
That's Admiral Holdo? Battle of Chiron Belt Admiral Holdo? Not what I expected.
Stupid sexist Poe. I mean, we all knew that, but I like that the movie pounds it into my brain. My skull's pretty thick, so it takes me time to learn anything.
With our current fuel consumption, there's a very limited amount of time that we can stay out of range of those Star Destroyers.
Very kind of you to make me aware.
Look at him mansplaining to her. All these powerful women in one shot, and he thinks he knows everything because he's a man.
Not Commander, right? Wasn't it Leia's last official act to demote you?
That's right, it's Poe's fault that no one else in the chain of command outranked and overruled him and called off the attack. You sass him, Admiral. You sass him good. There's nothing I like more in my military leadership than condescendingly dissing a lower-ranked officer. It really inspires the troops when they're snarkily insulted.
So stick to your post and follow my orders.
Yeah, go climb into the heap of your burning X-Wing. What? You thought Poe was this cool, no-nonsense, super skilled pilot? Well, he is, but those are all toxic, masculine things that have no place in the Resistance military. Shut up and listen to Holdo's non-existent orders, you pig. Hey, a new character. I'm so happy we get to meet her. I mean, I don't know anything about her, but she just looks like someone who's going to be really important in the next movie.
You know, just this morning, I've had to stun 3 people trying to jump ship in this escape pod.
Wow, they've got Space Plumber Rose guarding the escape pods instead of, soldiers. Wow, she must be really incredible with that space taser. Or maybe all the soldiers are busy just running and standing around pointlessly, I don't know. But between working behind pipes and guarding the escape pods, Rose is clearly overworked, so she almost believes that Finn isn't actually just doing routine checks of the escape pod with its door open and a bag packed. Good job, Rose. It's truly an inspiring intellect.
Active tracking.
What now?
Okay, I don't know what they're talking about with active tracking, control rooms, and system cycles. I'm sure it's rooted in some incredibly nerdy lore that I will never learn about and that totally isn't just made up on the spot. Good for you, writers, I guess. Thanks for telling me their plan, though, even if I don't understand half the words.
You'll find him with a red plum bloom on his lapel, rolling at a high-stakes table in the casino on Canto Bight.
Okay, got it. They go to a casino, they find the hacker man, and they use him to sneak onto Snoke's ship. That seems pretty easy, and I'm sure glad I didn't have to figure it out by watching them do it. I really appreciate the movie telling me all of their moves in advance. Wait, what's going on? No one's telling me what's happening. Someone explain this to me.
Can you see my surroundings?
You're gonna pay for what you did.
I can't see yours.
Oh, they're like on a force Zoom call, I think. Ow! Oh, okay. Yeah, not supposed to do that. I forgot. Hey, look, funny aliens. Yeah, that's better.
Master Skywalker, we need you to bring the Jedi back because Kylo Ren is strong with the dark side of the Force.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'd forgotten that. Thank you for explaining it in plain language, Ray. I really appreciate that the writers only trust me to remember the last 30 seconds of the movie.
The Force is not a power you have. It's not about lifting rocks.
For some reason, I'm going to remember this line.
Yes, I feel it.
That's the Force.
Really?
Wow, it must be really strong
Wow,
with you.
I've never felt any...
She's so dumb. She thought a blade of grass was the Force. This is totally in line with Rey's character in the past movie and a half, I think. Well, I only remember the last 25 seconds of this movie, honestly.
What was that?
Nothing, Admiral.
Oh man, the Empire's gonna track them, and then Finn and Space Plumber are going to have to fight some stormtroopers, right? That's gonna be awesome. Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
It's a terrible place filled with the worst people in the galaxy.
Rich people? I knew it. I hate rich people. I'm just glad everyone who works on Disney Star Wars has to take a vow of poverty. What?
Oh, yes. This place is great.
Yeah, that's how Finn would act based on my memory of him. His character to this point has definitely been developed to the point where he likes opulence, fine clothing, and gambling. Wonderful character development, really.
The First Order stripped our ore to finance their military, then shelled us to test their weapons.
I really love it when a character reveals everything about their past completely unprompted. I was wondering, what is this Space Plumber's deal anyway? And then she told me. I mean, Finn. She told Finn.
There's only one business in the galaxy that'll get you this rich.
War.
Yep, only one way to get rich. There are absolutely no other ways people have ever gotten magnificently wealthy. Spot on, Disney. You've done it again. I would have given this movie an 11 out of 10 if that rock had knocked these two into the ocean.
By the time I realized I was no match for the darkness rising in him, it was too late. I went to confront him.
See, this is what I love about Disney Star Wars. They took Luke Skywalker, who was able to turn his father, Darth Vader, back to the light, and made him unable to hand a single child who was falling to the dark side. That's just such wonderful character development. I'm sick of seeing people grow stronger or more virtuous. I want to see our icons of goodness, truth, and hope become pitiful failures and miserable has-beens. It makes me feel better about my own vices. Why bother trying to be better when Disney Star Wars teaches me I'm just gonna fail anyway?
I went to confront him.
Yep, that's definitely how I confront a struggling student. Show up to his bedroom in the middle of the night. That's going to be a helpful conversation, 100%.
You didn't fail Kylo. Kylo failed you.
How do you know? He talked to you about it for like 10 seconds. Sorry, that's right. Rey, you're right about everything. You get that miserable old man to show you how to use the Force to lift rocks.
Admiral.
This is exactly how I expect the personnel on all war rooms, bridges, and Resistance leadership meetings to look.
Without a code breaker to bring us onto Snoke's Star Destroyer, what do we do?
Unless you got a thief in your pocket, our plan is shot.
I can direct.
Wow, they just happen to be put in a cell with a guy who can do the exact job they need. There's a word coming to mind. Contrived, convenient, bullshit. Man, I can't think of it. Anyhow, what luck. I don't know how the writers found such lucky characters to put into their story, but dang, that's awesome. Must be like the Force or something giving them good luck. That's how the Force works, right? I wasn't paying attention when Luke was teaching Rey about it. I've learned not to listen to anything Luke says because he's dumb now. Yeah, run to your freedom, weird horse thingies. Don't worry about us kids. We'll be fine being enslaved after all the animals that we were entrusted to watch are stolen. Totally fine. We didn't want to escape with you anyway. Screw you, rich people. I love that this scene takes as long as it does. Definitely nothing else important happening anywhere else in the galaxy that I want to be looking at right now. Hey, their ship is still there, even after they got arrested for parking in that very spot. I guess this place doesn't have towing services. What a nice town. They only throw you in jail for parking outside the designated zones, but they leave your ride there till it decomposes 5 million years later. See, not only is Luke a miserable failure, he's also a liar. He didn't just try to talk to Ben, he tried to kill him. He figured there's no way he could redeem this child from the darkness growing in him. Because we all know that once the dark side starts working on you, that's it, you're done. That's how things work, right?
Let the past die. Kill it, if you have to.
Translation, I don't care about any other movies or shows that were made before this one. I am Rian Johnson, and this is my galaxy now. Whoa. Social distancing, you two. That's the entire point of Force Zoom.
He would bring destruction and pain and death at the end of everything I love because of what he will become.
Right, because the future is set in stone, and there's nothing you can do to change someone and divert them from their path to the dark side. Totally impossible. Truly insightful from Luke. Their destinies are determined by the Force, and they have no free will, so why bother trying to help anybody? Brilliant.
For the briefest moment of pure instinct, I thought I could stop it.
You know how, like, a single moment of pure instinct drives you to get up in the middle of the night, walk to your student's room, and get ready to murder him. Totally couldn't have sensed his future at any other point during the day, like when you're doing meditations and all that other Jedi stuff together. It had to be now, because it had to be now. Of course it did.
You failed him by thinking his choice was made.
Yeah, that's definitely a mistake Luke would make. No, not like old Luke who redeemed his father. We killed him, right? We killed the past. This is new and improved Luke who can't do anything right because he's a miserable old man.
This is not going to go the way you think.
Rian Johnson to J.J. Abrams after he took over.
If I go to him, Ben Solo will turn.
See, Rey tells Luke that Ben's choice wasn't made when Luke confronted him, but if Rey confronts him, Ben will definitely turn back to the light. You know, because Rey is just so much smarter and better than Luke.
Read them, have you? Page turners. They were not.
This is such a beautiful moment. We get to see Luke forced to let go of the Jedi books that he had been holding onto for so long, that taught him everything he knows, and acknowledge that Rey is smarter than some dumb books. What? What do you mean that's not how he learned to be a Jedi? Shut up, we killed the past. We get to invent whatever story we want now.
The greatest teacher, failure is.
Wow. Rian Johnson must be a really smart man then. Yeah, I mean, you suck, Luke. But you can be better now because you sucked? Somehow you never learned that in your decades of lifetime, you numbskull.
Give it back. You have no idea how much that medallion means to her.
Are we supposed to know what it means to Rose? What? From the first scene? I'm supposed to remember that? Ugh, it was like 10 years ago.
Why are you ransacking your own ship? It's not your ship.
He says I stole it. We stole it.
Oh, he stole the ship. Man, I'm really glad they said that like 4 times, or I never would have figured out why this self-professed thief was taking money from this ship's storage compartments. I'm always so confused until the characters on screen tell me what's happening.
That was the last of their support ships.
This movie just knows me so well. I was wondering, what is this ship getting blown up by the First Order? And I just couldn't figure it out until they told me. Thank you, Ryan, for making my brainless experience possible.
Are you fueling up the transports? We're abandoning ship. That's what you got. That's what you...
See? Toxic masculinity at work. Poe thinks he knows everything. He sees one screen and assumes he knows all the details of Holdo's brilliant plan. What a pig. It takes a lot of perceptive insight to identify what the writers are trying to tell us about Poe here, but I can spot a toxic male a parsec away. That's a Star Wars thing, right? Did I use it right? I don't care.
Brought us to...
This is exactly how toxic men act when they don't get their way. They don't stop and ask questions. Definitely not from a woman. They just assume she's stupid and they start throwing things. That kind of behavior is how Poe got so far in the Resistance, obviously, but no more. Not in Holdo's ship. Good to know progressive maintenance still works aboard Star Destroyers.
So a stormtrooper and a who now are doing what?
They are trying...
She's a space plumber. I mean, I don't blame Holdo for not listening to Poe. He's the worst, we've well established this. Honestly, I'm surprised she's talking to him at all.
Vice Admiral Holdo, I am relieving you of your command for the survival of this ship, its crew, and the Resistance.
Wow, space mutiny is easy. They're doing this right in the middle of a very busy hangar. Too bad Holdo doesn't have any soldiers aboard this ship to back her up and take down these 5 mutineers.
You will not bow before Snoke.
Why not? Well, because Rey says so. She's so much smarter and better than you that she can convince you to do anything by just saying it will happen. You doubt me. Just wait.
My faith in you is restored.
Thanks for telling me how you really feel, Snokey. I definitely couldn't have figured that out by you saying,
"Well done, my good and faithful apprentice."
Wow, Holdo's such a badass. I mean, she knew exactly where to kick to get steam, to spring in the right direction, and she's just so fast that none of the people with weapons trained on her can stun her before she gets there. And she does it all in a dress. Take that, toxic masculinity. Holdo single-handedly turns the tide and causes the mutiny to fail. What? You want to know what the rest of the crew was doing while the mutiny was happening? Whose side were they on? Shut up, no one cares. I would give this movie an 11 out of 10 if he just shot her anyway.
That one's a troublemaker. I like him.
What? He commuted mutiny. He's a pig. Why do you like him now? It's because he's handsome, isn't it? Handsome guys can get away with anything, even in Disney Star Wars. I never get away with anything.
Someone needs to stay behind and pilot the cruiser.
Man, too bad they haven't discovered self-driving spaceships in Star Wars yet.
Cloaking device activated. We should be off their scopes.
Let's hope this works.
Good thing no one told Poe about the cloaking devices earlier, or we wouldn't have gotten to see him pay for his toxic masculinity. Just thank goodness for Holdo's lack of transparency.
Holdo knew the First Order was tracking our big ship. They're not monitoring for little transports.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, all those Star Destroyers can only manage to track the one big ship that you could see with your eyeballs. Clearly, they just don't have resources to track any other ships. That would just be wasteful.
We could slip down to the surface unnoticed and hide till the First Order passes. That could work.
The lesson here, Poe, is accept that your superior officer is an unparalleled genius who doesn't need to share any of her plans or wisdom with you. Also, thank you for telling me exactly what you intend to do. I was beginning to get confused again.
Godspeed, rebels.
I have no idea how Holdo is flying this cruiser by just standing around, but if this film has taught me anything, it's you don't question Admiral Purple Hair. Hey, stop flying those things around. I thought you people cared about fuel conservation.
We got caught. I cut out the deal.
Ah, man, this guy really sucks. I mean, duh, but what a jerk. Ruining Admiral Holdo's perfect plan. What? You want to know how he knew about the rebel transports? Shut up, who cares? He's smart and stuff. He probably just guessed and happened to be right.
The entire resistance on those transports
Dang, that was like 3 ships blown up in 5 seconds. All 30 of them will probably be destroyed in the next minute then. That's first order efficiency for you.
Kills his true enemy.
See? Rey was right. She's always right. Stupid Snoke. Couldn't even detect that his own apprentice wanted to kill him. He thought Kylo wanted to kill Rey. What a dummy. Bye-bye, Snoke. No one cared who you were or where you came from anyway. We weren't asking questions. Oh, crap, it's been like 2 minutes. I guess the Resistance are all dead. Ooh, an action scene. Flashing lights, action. I can't really tell what's going on, but I know it's exciting. I guess they're still alive. I've never been good at math. Ooh, more flashing lights. I like this. I love lightsaber fights, especially when neither lightsaber user fights the other one, and neither Force user uses the Force at all.
They were nobody.
They're a filthy junk trader who sold you off for drinking money.
Get your expectations subverted again, nerds. You thought like she was gonna be Obi-Wan's granddaughter or something, but she's a nobody. You fools got tricked again. Okay, real talk, this is like one of the few actually good moments in this film. I appreciate the notion that you don't have to be a Skywalker or a Kenobi to be the main character. The Force is not just strong in those families only. Alas, this was undone by the next nonsensical film because, of course it was. Wow, there's still a lot of them left. I must be really bad at math.
She's running away.
No, she isn't.
Poe has learned his lesson now. He's learned that Holdo is just much better and smarter than him, and he can trust her. And it's just such beautiful character development. Holdo is brilliant. She's totally brilliant. No one in the history of Star Wars has ever lightspeed rammed before, but Holdo thought of it. Thousands of years and billions of pilots, and this had never been thought of before now. But Holdo is smarter than everyone. I love it when my favorite characters survive and all the armored enemies around them die.
There's a shuttle back that way!
And one ship survives so my heroes can fly it out of there. It's just so convenient. I don't have to worry, and the writers don't have to think. See, when Finn falls into a hole, the hole just pushes him right back up.
Hey.
But when Plasma falls into a hole, it's basically Mount Doom. That's called consistent screenwriting, kids. It's like 80% down already, Poe. Stupid Poe. Oh, they thought it was the Empire the entire time. I thought they like knew Finn and Rose were in that ship because they radioed ahead or something, and they were just waiting until the very last moment to close the door. Well, why did they wait so long to close it? Yeah, next clip. Hey, this is cool. I like the trench warfare aesthetic. The rebels dug in while the First Order advances toward them over this field of white. It's just really an original idea. Oh, thank goodness. I thought we were going to lose Space Plumber. I mean, she's been so important to this plot, this whole movie, and I was just really worried about her.
I like this!
That's right, Rey. Revel in the destruction of human life. Wait, did Rey turn to the dark side or not? What? Stop asking questions? Okay.
Chewie, peel off from the back and draw them away from the speeder!
She drew them off! All of them!
Thanks for telling me, Poe. It wasn't really clear to me what Rey was doing after she said she was going to do it, and then we saw her do it. So, yeah, I appreciate you telling me.
I'm almost there! Retreat, Finn! That's an order!
Poe has learned his lesson about being a toxic man who needs to be a hero. He doesn't want Finn to make a suicide run at the cannon. He'd rather him die by getting shot in the back as he tries to retreat. I think that's a really good way to be non-toxic, Poe. Finn, however, hasn't really learned that trying to be the hero is toxic behavior, so he's committed himself to ramming the cannon and saving his friends. And the First Order, ever gracious and accommodating, has stopped shooting at him because, well, oh, yeah, right, don't think. My bad. Space Plumber to the rescue. What? How did she get there first when he was driving straight at it? I don't know. Shut up. Just let me appreciate Space Plumber saving Finn by stopping Finn from saving the day.
That's how we're gonna win, not fighting what we hate, saving what we love.
Rose is so wise. I mean, so many wars have been won by hiding and running away until the bad guys just like give up and go home. I've definitely read that in books. Definitely. So nice of the First Order to let these two have their romantic moment. That is definitely well earned by the film, instead of just melting them into the sand with their blaster cannons. It really goes to show how caring and compassionate the First Order are. I'm just so glad we've gotten to see so many examples of their empathy throughout this movie.
We fought to the end.
Well, you almost did, but then Space Plumber taught us that fighting isn't what you do to win a war. I guess she needs to educate Leia too.
And I can't save him.
Well, I mean, Rey tried to save him, and she didn't turn him back to the light, so obviously no one can. Rey's the best. Oh no, is Luke going to be okay? How could anyone survive this barrage? I can't believe it's going to end for Luke like this. He's alive. I'm shocked. Oh, Space Plumber's alive. Wow, they got back there fast and without getting shot. Finn is one sneaky SOB. I'm impressed.
Skywalker's doing this so we can survive.
There's gotta be a way out of this mine.
See, Poe has learned his lesson, taught to him by the disdain and the cold distance of Admiral Holdo. Don't fight, run. It takes a sharp mind to catch on to such subtle storytelling, but I'm on to you, Disney.
Follow me.
What are you looking at me for?
Right, it's not like you've disagreed with Poe in the past over very significant issues. Leia's always supported Poe. Why? The first scene? I'm supposed to remember the beginning of the movie. No way, man. You get it? Because like Luke said that's not what the Force is about, and now Rey gets to prove him wrong. Oh, well, I remember that. This movie is making me smarter.
And I will not be the last Jedi.
All because he had a 30-second conversation with Rey, and she convinced him that he's not a completely sad, miserable, and failure of an old man. Rey really is the best at dramatically changing people after barely interacting with them and having no previous relationship with them. Is there anything she can't do? Oh, he's doing like a Force thing that I've never heard of, and have no way of knowing how it works, but yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, that's cool. I'm sure it's rooted in some nerdy lore I've never read, and it's totally not just made up for this movie. Goodbye, Luke. Thank you for redeeming yourself from the failure that we found out about 1 hour ago because you listened to Rey. Always listen to Rey.
We have everything we need.
All we need is you, Rey. You are the key to everything. You could basically win the war single-handedly. There's nothing you can't do. Are we done now? I praised your movie. Can I see my kids again? There's another one? Oh, please don't make me do this. Seriously, don't make me praise Rise of Skywalker. I don't want to see a single comment telling me to watch and celebrate that movie. Don't you dare. No, stop typing.